All right, we're here at the special live edition of QA2 Max at the 2014 USTFCCCA convention in Phoenix. Joined on the set with David Osanitsch of Shippensburg. Coach, I didn't even ask you for Dave or David.
Doesn't matter.
Fantastic. So thanks for joining me today.
Thanks.
What's on the docket for you this convention?
This year is a really important year. I'm the chair of Division II for cross country and track and field, so mainly my respects to what's going on here is I'm involved in a lot of executive meetings and just looking at the future direction of our sport and overseeing those cross country and track and field committees.
So kind of transitioning into your own career at Ship, you guys do a lot of winning at Ship. And
We're doing pretty well.
If I know track coaches, they don't do a lot of sleeping. So with kind of how you guys dominate that conference, I think you've won every men's and women's indoor and outdoor track meet except for one the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
What is kind of keeping you up at night? What is driving you beyond winning this conference that you kind of have on lock right now?
Sure. Yeah, when I got there, this is my 10th year as the head coach there, and I transitioned from another career into full-time into coaching, and I just saw that the formula at Shippensburg could work, and we could be successful. And we would every year we try to take it another step further. Right now we feel pretty good about what we're doing regionally. We're winning conference championships and things of that nature, but we're trying to build the program so we can be more of a factor at the national level. And we do. Steve Spence, our head cross country coach, he does a wonderful job, and we've had consistent teams here at nationals in cross country, and I'd like to see us in track and field be as that consistent as far as placing in the top 15 every year. But it's definitely a challenge. In Division II, there's a lot of the haves and the have-nots. We have a large spectrum of scholarship schools versus non-scholarship schools, private versus non-private with state schools, and it's a challenge. There's a lot of challenges that are set before you, but my institution at Shippensburg is very supportive of myself and our program. We have great athletic, our AD is fantastic, understands the sport of track and field, and is passionate about it. We have a sports information director who's passionate about it, and that's really helped us. But the number one key to our success, I think, is our coaching staff. I've had a coaching staff at Shippensburg that have stayed there for many years together, and they're outstanding from top to bottom. So they're really the key to our success. And success breeds success, and I've found in our sport. If kids get out there and find out that you're having a successful program, they want to go and see why. So that's kind of been our stepping stones for that at this point.
You speak so highly of Shippensburg, and it's almost for your entire adult life where you've been. You were there when you were an 18-year-old kid.
Right.
You took a little interlude after, and then have been there, for more than a decade now.
Yeah. What's
it been like to basically grow up at Ship, to see it through the eyes of a teenager now as a father? Yeah,
it's fascinating. It's crazy that I've been on campus for so long. It just doesn't get old. It doesn't get dry. The university has grown so well. They've had such good leadership about projects on campus with buildings and everything, and it's just a healthy environment. That's why I never leave. They're always looking to the next day, and it's I don't know, it's inspiring to some extent. And I've really become so close with my staff too. I brag. I mean, I have. I hate to use that quote, Division I staff, but I really do.
No,
they're so knowledgeable. They help me run the program, and it's to such a high level. It's just, I'm along for the ride most of the time. I just try to catch up with them as far as what they're doing. But yeah, it's definitely a unique experience to have the opportunity to coach your alma mater. Who doesn't want to do that? That was the unique opportunity that was presented to me, and I grabbed it.
You talk about cross country, and you mentioned Steve. Maybe unlike a lot of, you're more of a kind of sprint, hurdle, explosive background. You're also on the staff for cross country. So, what's your involvement like during the cross country season? Are you out there going to meets? Are you chatting with Steve, like, hey, Steve, are we doing VO2 max testing today? Or?
When you got Steve Spence on your staff, you just kind of get out of his way.
Sure.
So basically, my job during cross country is to really try to deflect so he can focus on his student athletes, and that's really what my main job is during cross country. I would never be like, hey, why don't we try this, Steve? I'm a sprints, hurdles, jumps background. So
you'd be even more confused if Steve came up to you and said, hey, why don't we try this?
Right. My primary concern during meets is usually who's the guy who carries the tent, so they get the big guy. So that's me.
Yep.
But yeah, it's such a unique experience to have an Olympian as your coworker, and he's so modest, and he's so amazing, and he's so well respected. So, along with, also we're really, really lucky to have Kurt Dunkel, who is a phenomenal jab thrower, who's speaking at the convention.
That's right.
Doug Knoll, my coach, was our sprints hurdles coach to this day. I was one of his first athletes, so I've seen him grow as a coach. We have a former All-American hammer thrower who works with our hammer throwers and our weight throwers. And then we have Glenn Thompson, who is considered one of the best throw coaches in the nation, who in high school was the high school coach of Ryan Whiting.
Sure,
Who's
that's
pretty
such
good.
an often, yeah.
So that has attracted people, you know. So like I said, it's just I'm surrounded by such inspirational people like Steve every day. It doesn't feel, I always say this, I don't feel like I go to work. I feel like I go to do something I love every single day.
The final question that we've kind of been putting to every coach who comes through here is, this convention, maybe more than any other in recent years, kind of feels like a change convention, and things are changing in our sport, and things are changing in college athletics. What do you think needs to happen for our sport to be viable, to be strong, to still be healthy at the college level for years to come?
That is a great question, and if you have the answer, please let me know, and we will solve all our problems.
I'll send you an email.
Yeah, it is a great question, and it's a question that needs to be answered soon. There's a lot of major changes going on. We need to not only continue to grow as a sport, but we need to protect our sport, and that means we need to have more interactions with our athletic directors and our presidents at our universities and see what our mission statements are at each level, Division 1, 2, and 3 with track and field and cross country. What do they want from us? What do you want from us? And things of that nature. Also, we have to really display the positives of our sport. Our student athletes, on the average, tend to be more involved in the community. They're better students than the student body. These are the things you need to sell. Retention is very high with track and field athletes. They don't leave the school. They're very active, usually in their SAC programs across the nation. So we need to highlight all the things that we do very well, along with athletics. We also need to continue to make our sport more interesting, in my opinion. We need to we need to become more team-oriented, in my opinion. We need to have wins and losses, things of that nature. And that's a tough thing to sell here, because that's definitely a different philosophy than a lot of teams have.
Yeah.
So change is coming. The question is, can we get ahead of the change and dictate what's going to happen in the future for our sport, or are we going to have to catch up? That's what really this convention is about.
I think there's broad agreement that it needs to be more team oriented. There needs to be wins and losses. What actions or what rule changes will implement that?
That is a great question. I think that's going to be discussed a lot here. The question is, what meets do we score and what meets don't we score?
Sure.
How is that going to help programs and hurt? It's going to hurt some programs if you score everything. I think it'll create more well-balanced teams, which I think we lack. I think you'll see more well-balanced teams if we go to a scoring system. But at the same time, the other question is do we go to a situation where, and this is being bounced around too, preliminary, of course, our national championships in track and field, let's be honest, it's individuals that go to the national championship.
It's an individual meet.
It's an individual meet.
And it's a great meet.
And it's a fantastic product. There's no doubt about it. But the question is, if you go to more of a team-oriented situation, do you switch nationals to a situation where you go qualifying as teams and you have team national championships?
Or do you just have two national? Do you have an individual national
Correct,
meet and
like
a team
some
national
other
meet?
sports do.
Yep.
Tennis, I believe
golf,
that. Golf, wrestling, they all have separate national championships. So then that doesn't exclude that 26-foot, that great long jumper at a school that's not a very good team. He or she still gets that national experience. But at the same time, I know there's a lot of interest from people about a national championship possibly with teams. How awesome would it be to go to a national championship and see 10 teams battle it out in that setting? Oh, it'd be great. Those are the kind of things we have to think outside the box to move forward.
All right, well, you heard it here. Thanks for your time, Dave.
No problem. It's been my pleasure.